In the last video, we talked about how I had burnt up my Wukong extension board, so we're using this instead. And this board has a chip on it, a PCA 9685 chip, which will power 16 different servos all at the same time. I'm also using this Key Studio starter kit from Microbit, which comes with this breakout board and a breadboard. And one of the things I like about this particular one is that it has its own built-in voltage regulators on the board right there. So when you plug it in underneath, you get 3.3 volts as well as 5 volts output. And I like to use 5 volts with my servos because they just seem to work better that way. Now, I did in fact have to take this guy apart since the last video. I've posted some corrections in that video, and basically I had to take him apart for a couple of reasons. One was that the risers on the linkages were too long and they were touching the cardboard up above them. So that's just not going to work. So I had them at 15 millimeters and perhaps a little too much. I got a little sloppy with the measurements. Don't do that. Don't make the mistakes I make. So I've cut them down to about 12 millimeters, and that works much better. There's no danger of them touching the cardboard and being a problem. Okay, what else did I change? Oh, I changed the eyelids. The eyelids, remember, I had not put the eyelids such that, goes this way up, I had not put the eyelids at halfway when I measured the linkage. So I took about 5 millimeters off the linkage length so that we get the halfway mark. And the reason we want to use the 90 degree at approximately half the range is that at that point you get the most push-pull range of that servo. At 90 degrees it is pushing directly backwards and forwards, and that works better. If you're using the last few degrees, it's actually mostly turning to the side than it is pushing that linkage. So putting it in the middle of its travel is a good idea. So that's what I did between the last video and this video. Also got some cat hair on it, which is easy to explain. Alright. So what I want to do today is I want to recalibrate what we're going to be doing. So let's start with the eyes, and as you remember, I have them labeled. I got this habit of showing you things that above the camera. No, let's try to avoid that. Okay, so this is labeled eyes, and this is set up so that servo number 16 is the one that we're going to be working with. I'm going to plug that into servo 16, turn on the 4.5 volts. That's going to give me both 3.3 volts to power the microbit and 5 volts to power our servos. So as you can see, or not see in the video, because the video, the sync of the camera is a little bit messed up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and I'm going to move the eyes all the way to the left, right to where the pupil touches the sides. I just heard a noise. What are you complaining about? There we go. 74 degrees. So for eyes left, we're going to write down 74 degrees. Remember, this is from my perspective looking at the baby bot. So all the way to the left is going to be 74 degrees. And then we're going to go ahead and switch it back to 90 degrees by pushing both buttons. There, it's 90. And then we're going to increase it. Right until it touches. That's all the way to the right. Probably back it up one or two. And let's try that again. Get it one at a time. Okay, there we go. And let's read this here. There's our angle, 125. So all the way eyes to right is 125, so we're going to write that down. We're going to turn this off. Pull the plug. And we're going to plug in the eyelids, which I've labeled as the blink. So there's no mistaking that with just eyes. Now this is set up so that when I turn this on, it's going to go to 90 degrees. So that should, there we go. Halfway. So let's go ahead and move those lids down. And I'm going about 3 degrees at a time. 1 degree at a time. That is down. And that is 65. I wish I was 65 years old again. But we don't always get what we want. Alright, back to 90 degrees. There we go. And let's go up. Just moving it about 3 degrees at a time. That's enough to make it pop up a little bit. Oh, and there we have it. Let's take away a little bit. There we go. Now let's see that again. I'll go one at a time. I think we're going to need more voltage. Servos aren't really pushing hard enough. One more. Another one. Another one. There we go. Okay, it's all the way up. And what's our reading? 135. So let's change that to 135. Alright, turn that off. Pull the plug. Now the other thing we need to measure, plug this in, is the centering the eyes from left and right. Turn that on. Eyes should go to the center. There they go. Now we're going to start by going off to the left. There we are. And we're going to come back towards the center one at a time. Till we see them in the center. Moving them slowly to the center till we see till it looks like they are looking straight at us. And that, I believe, is correct. Now, you probably won't get the eyes exactly in the center, so you're looking for when the eyes appear to be looking straight at you. Okay, and take a reading 103. So, when our eyes are on the left and we take them to the center, our servo angle needs to be 103, which is a lot different than 90. Alright, let's take it back to 90. And let's go to the right. Okay. And some of this is due to the slop. Remember, slop is that little bit of play in our linkages that we have because we don't want to clamp it down too tight. And the other is the fact that we kind of sort of just measured it as best we can, and it may not be exactly right. So 90 degrees may not be the actual center. So now we're taking it back and we're looking for the center again. And I think that's it. You okay? You all lined up? Make sure it's not stuck. Not stuck. Looks to be centered. Take a measurement. 101 degrees. So that changed a little bit. 101 degrees. Now, from the left is 103. From the right it's 101. So there's a 2 degrees of play in our linkage. There's 2 degrees difference. And we're going to handle that in software, because if you use the same number, it won't look exactly like our baby bot is looking at you. Our baby bot will always be looking to one side or the other, depending on where it just finished its motion. If it's to the left side, it'll stay too far to the left. If it's the right side, it'll stay too far to the right. So you have to push it farther from the right and farther from the left to get it to be just the way you want it, in the center. Okay, so that is our new calibration of those two. Each time we put a new servo in, we'll have to calibrate it like that, finding out what the two different extents, high and low, are, so that we know what our limits are. Because if we push this too far, it can actually, those servos are actually strong enough to break the hook right out of the cardboard. Now we put them in there by using both thin super glue and hot glue, but you can break the little hook off, and that is a real pain to fix because then you have to take it apart. So as you've noticed, I have gone ahead and glued all along this and all along here in order to finish the gluing. I've glued here, there, a couple of different places to finish the gluing there. We only glued it a little tiny bit because we might have to take it apart. So now that we've got it working, we're going to go ahead and finish the gluing to make it nice and solid. So now that we have that, in our next video, we're going to try and put the head elevation up and down. So say yes. And that'll be our next video. Okay, and thank you for watching, as always.